Ready? Mm-hmm. Okay. Hey, everybody.
Hi.
Welcome back to episode 11.
Oh, my God. Yeah. It's been 11 months, right?
Yeah, 11 months, 11 podcasts.
So we must have started in February.
We must have.
Oh, my God.
We'll have to go back and look at episode 1.
Right.
Mm-hmm.
So introduce yourself.
All right, I'm Cynthia.
And I'm Barb.
And we're with River City Yarns. We have a lovely little yarn shop in Edmonton, Alberta, our favorite place to be. Mm-hmm. And we like to tell you about all the things that happen in the store, all the cool things we bring in, all the cool things we're working on. And in case anybody doesn't know it, we're also sisters.
Yes.
Mm-hmm. So, yeah.
So, love your hair, by the way. That looks fantastic.
Thank you.
Sarah just did a really pretty freshen up job.
Yes. I'm going to show you the yarn that inspired the color in my hair a little bit later on. But yeah.
Great.
Which is there's a really nice story behind that too. But yeah. It's December.
It is.
And how are your fingers doing?
I've worked to the bone. I don't have any fingernails.
I know.
I have to go get my nails done.
We have to go for a manicure, don't we?
Yeah.
Yeah. So have you been doing lots of knitting for people?
Not really. I've been doing lots of store sample knitting. Mm-hmm. You know, we've got in new yarns and we try and do samples in all the new yarns that come in. So that's hard because I've been shopping.
The other thing we've been doing is winding, because we've been doing all these cute little kits for people to take home and you can purchase and take home and give them as a gift or make them up quickly for people on your list.
Yeah.
But they require lots of splitting of skeins or winding of skeins. So we were really busy with that.
Our Advent box created a bit of a fury too. So that's been a lot of fun. People have been opening their gifts every day and posting on Instagram. Mm-hmm. It's just so much fun.
It is.
People want the little kits that are in the Advent box.
So the kits that we're putting in the store this year are from last year's Advent box. And if you want some of the things that you're seeing right now on Instagram from this year's Advent box, they'll be available next year.
Right.
Because we want to give the people who bought the Advent boxes kind of like a year of exclusivity on the projects. Mm-hmm. But if you wanted a silicone tea bag, or if you wanted...
don't tell something that we haven't
unwrapped yet. Absolutely not. If you wanted an itty-bitty marker, though, those are some of the things that are available in store right now.
Yeah.
Mm-hmm. Yeah. Because people have been coming in looking for gifts for Christmas, for gifts for knitters and crocheters and weavers. And what would you say are some of the top sellers for gifts?
I think the top seller has to be the mini mittens.
The little garland kit?
Yeah.
Okay.
That's been one of the top ones. And I think the snowflake, a lot of people are buying the snowflake one.
Crocheted snowflake?
Yeah, there's 4 of them, right?
There's one. The pattern is for one snowflake.
Sorry, there's 4 different kits.
Oh, is there?
Yeah. We have the snowflake and the mitten.
Oh, I see.
We have felted soap that makes a great little stocking stuffer. And we have
Eve's wrist warmers.
Eve's wrist warmers, right.
These are kits that are all on our online store. So we'll put a link in the show notes down below so you can see them as well. Yeah. But they're priced nicely. So if you just want something that's really cute and ready to go, that's it. Yeah. And then we have other things that people need. If you don't want to buy yarn for somebody, you want to buy them a gift, but you're not sure about what color they might like, or whether or not they like silk or bamboo or wool.
Right.
We have some gift ideas for people that are, handy tools, things that people need all the time.
Right.
Right?
Yeah.
So tell us about some of those.
Sure. Well, the first one is Eucalan. We love this. We use this no rinse soap in our store all the time because it's the greatest for woolens or knitwear or lingerie or really anything you want to hand wash.
I use it for my bathing suit.
Yes. Get the chlorine out.
Yeah.
And so it's a nice little gift. You can tuck one into a stocking or give someone a big bottle of it. We love that. We have the gleaner. You want to talk about the gleaner? Yeah.
This I think is, everyone needs to have one of these. Particularly because there's a lint brush on it.
Yes.
And I think a lint brush is old-fashioned technology, but it's really important if you want to keep things from pilling. you need to get rid of those fibers that are on the surface of the fabric that are causing it to pill. So there's a lint brush on this side, and then this side has 4 heads that you can put on it, and each head has sort of a rough surface that you can use for de-pilling.
And they get rougher as you go along, right?
Yeah.
So if you need heavy duty, there's a heavy duty one and a light one.
Right. The instructions tell you too, like the really fine one you could use for cashmere. And I've got a cashmere sweater that I put that blade on. And then the thicker one is for like wool, thick wool. And it just takes the pills off.
Right off.
We use it in the store to freshen up our samples as well. So because we want you to try on our samples and see what they look like and feel like on you. The samples go through a lot of wear. So we take the gleaner out and we'll just clean up all of our samples and then use the lint brush to make everything look nice again.
And one of our staff has dogs. Tina has pugs. They're just so cute. But she said this brush is the best brush. It's Sheila Mack too. Who has her cat. You know, you can use it on furniture and clothes, and it's great for pet hair.
Yes, it's perfect. And this is small enough that you could keep it in the glove compartment of your car. You can pack it in your suitcase, and then you can clean up before you leave.
Did you say made in Canada?
I did not.
Okay, well, so another made in Canada product. This comes from Quebec.
Perfect.
And nice to support Canadians. What else do we have? Oh, Likey needles.
Yes. Well, we love our Likeys. Yes.
They're a really nice product. I'm very happy with them.
Yeah. So for those of you who aren't familiar with it, it's an interchangeable. Excuse me. Now I'm going to sneeze.
Bless you.
Ooh.
3s?
Usually.
One
This
more?
time just 2.
Oh.
We've been using the interchangeable knitting needles. They come in long tips with 3 lengths of cords, or you can get short tips. And they have 5 lengths of cords, and now they come out with colored ones.
Yes.
They're amazing.
They sent us these posters. We don't have any of the colored ones, but here's the DPNs.
Right. You can get double pointed needles in a set.
Yeah.
And
here's the short set.
the short set.
And you know, they told me that this case, it sits up so your needles are standing up like paintbrushes. They're going to do that in all their kits from now on because they got such positive feedback.
Right. And again, the knitting needles and the double pointed needles are on our online store. So if you want to see better pictures or close-up pictures of these sets, they're there.
This is the one we wanted to.
I can't believe
I know. We are so excited.
I am. Are these interchangeable as well?
No, they're not. But they're crochet hooks, and so we didn't have these. These are brand new to us. Sabrina, when she saw these, was just squealing with joy because
Sabrina is Barb's and Mario's daughter, and she works here in the store. She does most of our mail outs for us. So if any of you have ordered products for us, you may have a note from Sabrina in there, and she's a lovely crocheter.
Yeah, she crochets like crazy.
Yes, and she makes up stuff too.
She doesn't even use a pattern.
She's artistic.
Yeah.
I think a lot of crocheters are. I really believe that a lot of crocheters just, they want to break the pattern. They don't want to read the pattern. They just want to build.
Yeah.
And so I can't open this
part. Here, you switch and you can talk about the DPNs because we have the DPNs too.
So these needles are all made out of birch wood. And they've been dyed, so they look like driftwood. They're really cool. And the double pointed needles come in a set of 5 pieces per size. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8. So there's 8 sizes of the double pointed needles, 5 needles in each size, and they come in a beautiful faux leather case. And but these are the crochet hooks,
And then the interchangeable sets, they're coming out with colored needles. So the first ones were...
I see. I see. So the case just turns itself into this beautiful little stand.
It's like a palette.
So nice. I love this.
And Sabrina told me that she loved the way the sharpness of the top of this crochet hook.
Yes, it's pointed
so for those
at the top.
of you who are expert crocheters,
right.
that is very nice. And the throat of this hook is really nice as well.
Right.
And look at the nice detail where they have the size right on the end cap.
Right.
So at least it won't wear off,
I have to hold it about this far away to see it, but so the smallest size in here is a 3.5. Did I get that right?
Yeah, and I think it comes to a 10.
Yes. Size E, a US 4 or a 3.5 is the smallest hook in here. They're wooden hooks, and they're, like Barb said, they've been rounded to a sharp point at the top, so that makes it really easy or easier for you to get that hook through a tight stitch, or if you're doing a decrease and you're doing something special. They're really lovely.
Aren't they beautiful?
They're really pretty.
So those sets will be available too on our online store as well, right?
Yeah, they're not on our online store yet, but they will be, and they're going to be an instant big seller because
I think so.
Sets of hooks and needles are really nice to have even if you have some repeats in your set. It's really nice. And there's a little accessories pouch here.
Yeah.
And there's a zipper case on the outside, so you can put your stoppers or put your stitch markers or scissors or anything like that in there, and made out of wood. So it should maybe get through Mexican security.
Yeah, I was in Mexico and my project got taken away, and it was very sad.
Your project didn't get taken away, but they took your needles.
needles.
They actually severed the tips of the needles from your cord and left you with just the cord. That's the picture she sent me anyway.
Yeah.
Oh,
well,
man.
I should have been smarter about that. I shouldn't have taken it through, but I figured it was my role to test it out.
We take it for granted a little bit. You know, the airport security here in Edmonton and every other place that we've been to, all kinds of locations in Europe, we've had never any issues with metal needles. But in Mexico, they take a harder line on knitters on the plane.
I figured it was more trouble for me if I was on a plane for 5 hours without knitting as opposed to with knitting.
So you probably felt like you needed to have a brick bubble enamel pin. These are gorgeous. These are a new purchase that Barb's made for the store, but this one that I'm holding with its back to you says fresh out of F's. Yeah.
It's very cheeky.
It is.
This is probably her number one selling pin.
Well, we put them up in the store on display, and I have to admit they sell like hotcakes. There's another one with a sewing machine, and it says "Make It So," which I really like too.
That's
because
cute.
that has a Star Trek implication to it as well. And then there's another one that says "Yarn Snob." I love this one too. I make string pretty, as opposed to I make pretty string. I make string pretty. And I heart big balls. Who doesn't, right? The more yarn, the better. And these are all enameled pins with a little safety thing on the back.
Yeah.
What do you call this? Like a
closure.
Yeah.
It's a really nice one. These are very lovely quality.
Yeah.
And I think these are really popular right now. Everybody's coming out with enamel pins and collector items.
Yeah.
We should get a River City Yarns one.
We don't have an enamel pin, do we? We just have a little button.
Yeah.
Yes.
So speaking of pins,
yes,
that's a nice segue into our new pin.
Yes. This is absolutely stunning, Barb.
What do you think?
That's gorgeous.
This is a local maker. This is made by Carrie, and she's with A New Rain, a company here in Edmonton, and she's making these pins from aluminum.
Oh, it's so shiny.
I know.
I was surprised.
I know. It's really shiny, and we had some sterling silver pins a couple years back, and they were beautiful pins, but they tarnish, right? They're silver, and these will not tarnish. And she hammers them, so there's a hammered kind of surface on them, which is really neat.
Well, it picks up the light, so I don't know if you can see it too much on the camera, but we'll take a close-up photo of it later. But the hammered surface just picks up the light, like it's like a faceted jewel, right?
Yeah, a reflection. And so she did a little take on our logo. And so this is a custom little piece for us.
Nice.
And
so
it works really nice.
So it's a set. You get the pin and the swirl.
Right.
So that makes everything stick really nicely.
It works really good through something that is fairly thick, where you have several layers.
Right.
Or if you have a piece that's finer, you can just use this part.
Oh, okay. Mm-hmm.
So this will work as well to put together a shawl.
Right.
It's a little lacier.
Right.
Yeah.
Lovely. So those are available in the store?
Yeah.
Mm-hmm. Okay.
Yeah.
And you got a good supply?
We got a good supply. Yeah.
Really good.
Yeah.
Okay. Oh, man. Oh,
what
and
else?
Then I think we've talked about this before, but you should talk about this again because it's really fun.
Well, it's really popular. These we had in our Advent boxes. They're little tea infusers. So they're made out of that silicone baking fiber that you have with baking sheets. And they're, food ready.
They can withstand high temperatures. Yeah.
And they're safe. And so you just use this, put a little loose tea in the bottom, and the bottom snaps back on, and then you put it in your cup, add hot water.
Right.
And
there's perforated holes in both sides of the tea bag so that the tea can be infused in your hot water.
Right.
Yeah.
So we still have a few of these left. They were so popular. As soon as we put out our Advent calendar and people opened them, they started calling the shop. And so I think we've got a few left. I have to see if we can get some more. That was a really fun
That's a
buy.
great idea. Yep.
And they've been really nice, really popular.
Oh, good.
Oh, somebody told me too that two things about this. This little thing kind of sticks to your cup a little bit. And so you know how you have to wrap your tea bag around the handle often? This doesn't do that. It kind of floats.
Oh.
And so it's kind of nice that way.
Yeah.
And then somebody else said you can use this for bath infusions. Like where you get some bath salts that have tea leaves and things in them. You can use, you can buy these for that purpose
so
too.
You don't get out of the bathtub with stuff.
Right? Yeah.
Also, you could probably put lavender in there and use it like a sachet in water.
Yeah.
So you could probably put something.
You could use them in your drawer.
Yes.
Right?
Yeah. But I'm just thinking too, if you put a slice of lemon in there and put it in some hot water, because I'm not a big tea drinker, but this time of year, a little rum, a little honey, and some lemon in some hot water is a nice cure-all for sinuses and lack of sleep.
Yeah.
That's great. Well, that's a really good idea. It would be nice to put in some herbs in there and put it in your bathtub. Yeah. Very nice.
Multi uses.
So not just for tea drinkers.
Not just for tea drinkers.
Perfect.
So let's take a quick little break.
Okay.
And we'll chat about new yarns coming up next.
All right. All right, so Barb, I'm so excited because this is our first special guest segment.
Yes.
So we have Sara here from Mama Knows Luxury.
Yes.
Sara is someone that you met. Tell us about how you met Sara.
Well, I think we talked kind of months and months ago, and we've seen each other at trade shows. Sara was at Knit City last year. She had her great blanket. She had a booth there.
Oh, I missed it. I'm so sorry.
Yeah.
And this year was our first year.
She was probably making me work really hard.
Yeah. Oh, brother.
But she was out wandering around, exploring booths.
Yeah, I was shopping. Yeah, so we've been getting so many requests, Sara, for these big extreme blankets, right? And so that's really how I knew that you were doing this, so I sourced you out. And we wrote a little story about it in our newsletter last month, and I think you even got referrals from it or calls from it, right?
Right. I had been aware. I think we had spoken a few months ago and you had said that whenever anyone asked, you were sending them my way. And I absolutely appreciated that.
Yeah.
But when you mentioned me in the newsletter, I reached out and said, you really should have this
Right.
access within the store.
Right, yeah.
So Sara made it so easy for us that we couldn't say no, right? And she came up with she's got a lookbook and she's got kits. So we kind of took opportunity and asked her to come in and tell us about it.
So we just started. Basically what we're going to do is give you a place to come and order kits from Sara, and Sara will send them directly to you. The lookbook is like a catalog, and we'll see what we can do to maybe get this on our online store as well. So those of you who are not here in Edmonton but who'd like access to this can have it as well. Yeah. So tell us a bit about how you got started.
So I've always been a knitter and a crocheter and a maker, and these big blankets started really trending on social media about 2.5 to 3 years ago. And as a business owner who sold knit and crochet items, I started getting the questions from clients. I think everyone in Edmonton did. Can you make me this blanket? And the answer over and over again was no, we can't get this wool. It's far too expensive. In order to make you a small blanket, you're looking at $1,000, and the people would just disappear.
Yeah.
So I started trying to find the yarn at a wholesale level so that I could make these blankets to sell.
And I bet you that wasn't...
Like to make them?
I was going to make the blankets and sell them.
Okay.
Right. So I found a company that was willing to, well, initially they weren't willing. I had to beg and plead and coerce.
Yes, I imagine that was hard.
It was. I've never been one. No, it's just never been a word that exists.
I love that.
In my life. So I eventually convinced them. And I brought this wool in. And, the interest in using the wool within my friends in the Edmonton knitting and crocheting community was instant.
Yeah.
And so I was able to sort of make back my initial investment on selling this wool off to my friends.
Right.
But the other thing that was instant was the questions.
Yes.
How do I care for this? What's the pattern going to be? You're talking about splitting the yarn. How do I do that?
How much yarn do I need? How big will it be?
Right. All of these questions. And I realized very quickly that selling the yarn itself was going to be the real business for me. And so I did two things. I reached out to some really amazing designers. Initially, it was Stephanie from All About Ami, who's local here in Edmonton, and Michelle from MJ's Off the Hook Designs, who's out of Ontario and a very talented crochet designer. She does the shark and mermaid tail designs that we've all seen.
Right.
And I had them work on creating not only patterns but photo content and starting to understand the sizing that we were going to get. And while they were doing that, I started answering the questions about care and focusing on sort of being able to reply to people with this myriad of questions that everyone had.
So you're focusing really on the product, getting the product in people's hands, and the education.
Right.
Would you say?
Right. So people ask me all the time, well, how much is a blanket? And I say, well, let me know where you are, and I'll happily refer you to one of my preferred makers. I don't actually ever make items to sell anymore in fact I never did actually sell a blanket when I ordered all of this wool. So
we find that too. We find a lot of people come in, and then when they find out how much they cost, it's because it's an investment. They're maybe $300 to $500 or $600.
Right. So
for a blanket, right? But you don't have to do blankets. You could do hats. You can do cowls, scarves, and what about a poof? Is that how you? Okay,
so you. What our focus became was, let's make this accessible to everybody. So we made some smaller kits. So you want to work with the yarn, you love the beauty of it, but you can't afford the $369 for the 6-pound blanket.
Right.
So maybe you make a poof, and I think the price on that is $199 or $210 depending.
And a poof is kind of like an ottoman.
A little ottoman.
Yeah.
Or you can make a cushion with 1 pound, and you're looking at maybe $99. So what we focused on was getting the supplies to people and being the expert in the supplies.
Right.
So by doing that, we started being able to make buys big enough that we could start to really streamline the price.
Right.
And our kits and the volumes that we're doing mean that we can bring that lower price and start to take this very niche-y product and bring it into the mainstream.
Well, that's really nice, because you've been able to bring the price down on a blanket too. So probably 2 or 3 years ago, these blankets were all in the $1,000 range.
Right.
And now I see you've got a kit for about $350.
Right.
For a lap size or a smaller blanket. So, they're becoming more affordable too.
Right. And our preferred makers for the blankets themselves, we focus on our preferred makers on helping to educate them, showing the tips and tricks so that they can actually sell the blankets at a much more reasonable cost.
As well. Nice. Okay. So there's two ways you can get these blankets. You can have them already made up for you, or you can make them yourself. And we're focusing on the make it yourself route.
Right. So tell us about the yarn. You're bringing in merino.
Right.
And merino, for those of you who don't know, merino is a wool. It's a breed of sheep, but it has a really fine micron diameter, which makes it very soft. And it also has a lot of crimp to it. So it has this beautiful elasticity and buoyancy that you might not find in other wool fibers. So how did you source merino? Because that's hard to come by, isn't it?
It is. So the reason the answer was no, we couldn't make these blankets because we can't get the wool is because the merino sheep do not thrive in the North American climate. They live in places like Australia, Peru, New Zealand, sometimes Great Britain.
South Africa.
Right. So they need a specific climate to thrive. And the merino wool itself is the silk of wools. It's so incredibly beautiful and soft. And being able to find it in colors dyed is also very difficult. And there's lots of barriers to doing that. We work with a company called Ashland Bay out of the United States. And they bring in over 70 colors from family collective farms based out of countries like Australia, New Zealand, Peru, as mentioned. And so our wool is the absolute best quality that there is. It's incredibly soft. It's ethically sourced.
So if somebody wanted to do a blanket, they could bring in a pillow that they've got or some sort of home decor item to match up.
Right.
And they can come and look at our book here, pick your colors that you want.
What a great idea. Yeah.
And how long would it take, Sarah, to get, so if somebody came in on
We like to say
Monday.
5 days from Sunday. So
Okay.
what we do in order to streamline our pricing is we place orders once a week.
Yeah.
So whatever day of the week you order, late on Sunday night, I get those orders in.
They're on the phone.
Right, and it's internet days,
Operator.
So then we receive the wool usually the following Thursday. And have it ready to go by Friday or Saturday. So in your case, if you're collecting orders for the store and you submitted them to me Sunday morning, I would drop them off here at the store the following Friday afternoon, and your clients could come and pick them up on Saturday.
That's great. Yeah.
It's very fast.
Right. So not enough time right now to maybe make a blanket for Christmas, but still enough time to give somebody the gift of 4 to 6 pounds of lovely merino wool in a beautiful color so that they can do a blanket to curl up under for New Year's Eve.
Yes, that's right. Wouldn't that be nice?
Yeah. And then, it's not just Christmas. These make beautiful housewarming presents. I was just thinking weddings, bridal showers, they're gorgeous. Birthdays. Someone who's got a taste for yarn and this sort of extreme hand knit decor.
We find that real estate agents give them as housewarming gifts.
Right.
One of our preferred makers, her entire business is based on these real estate agents. Every time they sell a home, they order a blanket from her and give it. There's
lovely.
Yeah.
Yeah. And
do you have someone here in Edmonton who's making blankets?
Here in Edmonton, we use Kristen from Cozy Comforts.
Okay.
She's out in Leduc, but she caters to the entire Edmonton area. And she's really streamlined her process. She really is the expert in making these gorgeous blankets, communicating with the clients. For this area, that's who we use.
Great. So we'll put a link into her as well, right?
Yeah. And then if you want to learn how to make a blanket yourself, Sara has great videos. We're going to put a little clip in here where Sara teaches Barb how to knit one of these blankets, but you can also come in and we'll give you a bit of a hand on it too.
Yeah.
Well, and I would encourage you, eventually to start teaching your own workshops here at the store.
Well, why not? That'd be great. And look at these tools that Sarah's hooked us up with.
You've been eyeing those needles.
So we'll leave these here at the store so anyone can come in and see them and feel them. So these are actually locally handmade. They're made from poplar, so they only weigh about 175 grams.
Yeah.
So given people say, oh my gosh, those are so huge, they'd hurt my arms. They're actually really quite lightweight.
Yes.
And they're hand lathed and hand finished by a local toy maker, MDH Designs, out of Beaumont, Alberta.
I really like that you're using local people. That's really nice. For one reason, it's nice to support our local economy. But the other reason is that all of this stuff costs a lot to ship. Bringing wool in from the U.S., from Eastern Canada, Western Canada, doesn't matter where it's coming from. I mean, shipping is really expensive and it's heavy, right? And it's a lot of volume.
Well, and volume is what? So the major barrier was that if anybody wanted to order 10 pounds of wool, they would pay more in shipping and exchange and import fees. And because of the fact that we've been able to focus, by working with designers who design the patterns for us and by working with people who help us with the videos, it allows us to focus specifically on the supplies. Right. And so when you're ordering at the volumes that we're ordering at, we're streamlining out that shipping process. We're reducing those import fees. We're negotiating the better pricing so that it all gets passed on to the client.
Yeah, it's really good. Yeah.
So how many blankets or how many pounds of wool have you sold this year, Sarah? Any idea?
Well, I have a little bit of an idea. I think that by the end of the year, I'll have done over 2,400 pounds, 2.4 tons.
Wow, that's
God.
Amazing.
Okay, so if anybody's wondering, who would buy those blankets? Those blankets are being bought and sold.
Well, we just hit our 500th sale on Etsy, and that's not including our preferred makers. Our preferred makers are actually by far our biggest clients, but 500 sales on Etsy is a pretty big milestone for us. We're very excited, and we're shipping out anywhere between 10 and 25 crates to people every week.
And how many followers did you say you have on Instagram?
We're almost at 11,500.
Oh, that's great.
In a year. It's been really, I knew I was onto something when people started asking the questions and, focusing on the education and making it accessible. People at the beginning were saying to me, I really want to do this, but I can't spend this much money on something where there's no answers. Right. And bringing those answers to people has really made this accessible to everyone. Oh, and the fun of it is just amazing.
Yeah.
Well, some of the kits that you can see on Sarah's web or Etsy store are available here in Edmonton now. So you can get them through us at the very same price. So you don't have to pay for shipping, right? If you're local.
Right.
That's kind of an advantage to local folks.
And you'll get it much quicker. If you order off of Etsy, then you have to deal with either getting it shipped to you or making appointment times with me, which I'm very strict on. I try to not have too much pickup at the house. So coming to River City, you get the opportunity to see and feel the wool swatches. You get the opportunity to pick Barb's brain about how did she like doing it, right? You've got that support and that help, that real face-to-face person there. And like she said, it's no different in price. So.
Well, I have to tell you too, Sarah, all of our staff are extremely excited. Barb had the lookbook in a couple of days ago and they were all flipping through it. We've kind of had this, what do you want to say? For me, doing something without needles just seems like it's going against the grain. But having the opportunity to take your hands and pull it through those loops, like you're knitting. You're just knitting without needles. I mean, and using these makes it really easy too. I've had this sort of reluctance to get into the extreme knitting because I didn't think it was going to last. But I have to tell you, it is quite addictive. And I love the idea of having a blanket done in a day, in an evening, right?
And what do you get somebody who's really special to you that you want to spoil and you want to spend some money on? What do you get them? Well, one of these is perfect. Right?
And so, you know what else I'm thinking? Because, you're right, somebody really special. And for me, that's babies.
Right.
And I just think, wouldn't that make, it's like the most amazing baby blanket.
Yeah.
Now, I know who wants to spend $400 on a blanket for a baby, but
I would.
Well,
if it's your grandbaby,
and
or
you can felt it,
Well,
right?
and we also talk about, too, one of the conversations that we had is people say, well, it's very expensive. For a baby blanket, you could make one with 4 pounds, which is the size that you'll be doing today.
Right.
And 4 pounds is reasonably inexpensive compared to some of the bigger blankets. And when you figure out that in order to make a baby blanket in regular spun merino, you need 6 to 12 skeins at $25 a ball.
Right.
It's actually not that much difference in cost.
Right.
Right. It ends up translating.
Right.
One of the other things is because of the kids, the opportunity to spend time with somebody special. So sure, you could buy this kit and make the blanket and gift the blanket. But one of the things we actually see more often is daughters going and buying 2 kits, one for themselves and one for their mother, and giving this as their Mother's Day gift and then spending the afternoon together doing it.
Nice?
Or brides buying it for their bridal party and doing it at the bridal shower together. Right?
Yes.
We're seeing people using these kits as an opportunity to spend time with the people that they love.
Right.
Very nice.
And then you have it, so it's still an enduring gift. So let's say it's a baby blanket and let's say the baby pees on it. I mean, you can put it in the washing machine and wash it.
Right.
It's going to felt and it's not going to look the same as it did when you first knit it. But it's still a good blanket. It's still wool.
Right.
Oh, and I think they look even neater because they start to look like rope after you've felted them.
Right.
They're amazing. Everybody has to check out that video that you have, that link.
Right. You guys will link it. We've really addressed sort of, all of there's lots of myths out there. There's lots of misunderstanding and there's lots of truths. And I think that, initially...
Do you mean there's fake news?
Fake news! Exactly. We tried to just acknowledge the truths, help people accept them for what they are. This is a luxury product. It is a delicate fiber. And then we tried to talk about ways to increase durability once you understand those truths. And that felting process is part of it.
Yeah.
And we've provided the videos for those.
Yeah.
Right.
So go to
that's
Sarah's website and check it out. You're going to find all kinds of great information there and inspiration. And then come and see us if you'd like to order one.
Yeah. And thanks so much for coming in and visiting with us
Thank
today,
you so much for
Sara,
having me.
For teaching us how to knit a big blanket.
I told you it was easy.
It is easy.
I told you could do it.
Right.
I can't wait to see the finished one.
Yeah. Okay, thank you. All right. We'll let you go. I know you have a busy day today.
Yes.
Oh my goodness, Barb. I cannot believe how this yarn feels like, a soft handmade marshmallow. I just want to eat it. It's like a cream puff in yarn. So this is new.
Right.
Tell me about this.
Okay, so we have 2 new yarns this month from Juniper Moon. This company, we kind of came to our attention with their lace weight. They've got a beautiful lace weight yarn. Merino silk.
Findley, it's called.
Yeah.
Yeah.
And Findley dappled and really pretty hand paint colors.
Yeah. I just sold some of that actually yesterday.
Did you?
Yeah.
What were people making with it?
It was a lace shawl, and you only need 1 ball because I think it's over 700 meters on a ball of Findley, Juniper Moon Findley. Yeah.
Very great meterage. Yeah.
But this, oh my goodness, I could sleep on this. What is this?
So 14 micron merino.
Oh,
and the
my
finest
goodness.
cashmere. Yeah, it seems like it's all about the feel, right?
Yeah.
People want really, really soft, luxurious yarns to knit with.
Yeah, and this is 16 to 20 inches in stockinette stitch on a 4.5 to 5.5 millimeter needle. So this kind of spans the range between Aran and Chunky. And it's like a chainette kind of construction. So that's really nice because it means it's lofty and airy. You can knit it chunky without it being heavy. And holds a lot of air in it, so really good for insulating factor. I could see this being absolutely scrumptious cowl, beautiful slouchy hat, a gorgeous scarf, a sweater.
Yeah. I think the chainette really helps to against pilling. So for garments that have a little bit more rub on them, this would help. And this is a sample. So this came from the company that
This is a cowl?
Yeah.
Yeah.
It's a cute little button cowl, and I'm pretty sure it's crocheted.
Oh, do you think so?
Yeah.
There's a pattern for it.
Yeah,
obviously.
there is.
It's very,
Isn't
very
it cute? When I saw the plaid,
gorgeous.
I just thought, oh, that's really cute.
Here we go.
Yeah. Thank you for messing up your hair.
I think you're right, Barb. It is crocheted.
Right?
Yeah.
Single crochets?
Yeah.
With 3 different colors of yarn.
I'm very intrigued by the
I
plaid.
know. We have to figure
We have to
that
give
out.
that a try. Yes.
So this is so new. We haven't actually had a chance to dissect the sample yet or knit one up for ourselves, but we will.
And there's a nice little. So I keep talking to people about this. You know, just if you have a scarf that's too short.
Yeah. What
and
can you do?
Turn it into a cowl. Just overlap the ends and sew buttons down. Doesn't that look cute?
Doesn't that look cute? And with the fringe. I mean,
Yes.
fringe is all the rave now,
It
right?
is, yeah. Plus fringes, like if you have some leftover yarn, just a great way to finish off any project. And if you don't have enough yarn or you're not sure you have enough yarn, make your fringe first, and then do your project until you run out of yarn.
We should put kits together for this, shouldn't we?
We should.
That's the
For all you
perfect
crocheters out there.
3-ball project.
Yeah.
Yeah.
That's lovely. And then
That's
Zooey.
amazing.
Oh, this is a cotton linen blend. Unusual we don't have that many blends like this in the wintertime.
Right.
So this is really nice for those people who want something that doesn't have wool in it.
Right.
Yeah.
And you know, we're kind of building on our selection of non-wool yarns. I mean, we don't have tons and tons of them, but this one we brought in a really large amount of colors because we love the composition, the cotton linen. And there's so many beautiful patterns. When you go on to Ravelry, there's thousands of patterns done in Zooey. I'm working on one right now, using it interchangeably with Noro Silk Garden.
Oh, interesting.
Yeah.
Yeah.
A shawl. So 2 rows
Great.
of Zooey and 2 rows of Kitsuke's.
So this feels a lot softer than a straight linen. I think the cotton probably makes it softer. And then there's this interesting kind of heathered look to it. You can see that the linen is taking the dye in a different way than the cotton is. And that makes it look like a 2-tone kind of blend.
It almost, when you're working with it too, it almost has thin and thick sections to it.
Okay.
Yeah.
Mm-hmm.
Different ways
Yeah,
to get into the ball.
I see that here. Maybe the cotton's a little bit thicker in places. Yeah. And this is a 260 meters to 100 grams, 20 to 24 stitches in stockinette on 3 1/4 to 3.75. So this kind of, again, spans from sport weight to DK. Yeah, in that range.
Really good meterage too. So I would imagine for, you know, a sweater, you might need, you know, 6, maybe 7 balls.
Yeah. The other thing I like about this yarn, and probably the 14 is like that too. Yes, they give you a gauge in crochet as well as in knitting, and that's really unusual to find in yarns. So that's nice for you crocheters to know how many single crochets you can get in 4 inches as well.
Right.
Really good.
Yeah.
Well, that's nice.
So that.
Good range of colors in this one as
Good
well.
range of colors, yeah.
Okay. Perfect.
Yeah.
And then you got books.
Books,
Oh,
yeah.
Barb, I have to tell you, I have been waiting for
Have
this
you?
book forever.
Well, me too. We've been waiting for this since Knit City because we were lucky enough to sit in on one of Bristol's classes in Knit City. And this book is now out. We have copies of it. Not a lot of them, but we have a fair amount. So if you'd like this book.
This is not just any book. This is printed in England. It's hardcover. There are fantastic photographs inside. So it's not a soft covered trade paperback novel. This is really well done. I think Pom Pom published this one. Did they not?
They have published it. And if you get our newsletter, we put some information in our newsletter about Pom Pom. They have a video. You should go check it out because they talk about this book. As soon as you open it up too, you'll know the cover has actually got linen fabric in the cover. Yeah. And you can feel it.
It's really, and the pages smell So good.
The photography is
amazing.
Little details, like every page section has striping on it, like
on the outside.
Some of the pages have this really nice detailing on it where the patterns are.
Right. So if you're flipping through, you can find them quicker. Each section has a, very cool.
Just little details. They talk about the font. They talk about the little ribbon on the binding here.
Right. This is Bristol.
Yeah.
She's so cute. And
she's coming to Edmonton.
Yes.
We have
high five, sister.
She's going to be one of, probably our headliner, would you say, for
Knit for
Fun 2018.
All the folks who are coming for Knit for Fun 2018 are, in my mind, our headliners. But I feel like a special relationship with Bristol because we took her class and we tested her out before they invited her to take the Knit for Fun retreat.
Yeah.
So that's really good.
Yeah, she's an amazing teacher. We just had a great time in her class. And she talked to, not only is she, kind of the brioche instructor, I'd say probably one of the top ones, right? Next to Nancy Marchand.
Well, the brioche class we took, the 2 classes that we took were amazing and excellent. And I expect that's probably what she might be teaching when she comes here. This book, though, is not about brioche.
No.
This is about how to make your knitting do what you want it to do. And she covers some of the math behind it, does it all for you.
Yeah.
And gives you some formulas so that you can become the artist you want to be.
It's true.
Included our patterns, so you don't have to be an artist. But if you want to understand why things are the way they are in knitting, and why that angle is the way it is, and why your staggering decreases over 2 rows or 3 rows or 6 rows, she's explained it in here.
That's right.
Yeah. I cannot wait to take my copy home.
Yeah. And we have one other knitting related book that we wanted.
Ta-da!
Rib 3.
This is the 3rd issue of Rib. The Rib is the magazine for men.
And it continues to exceed our expectations when it comes to patterning. There's 2 of our friends who actually have patterns in this issue. The first is Fiona Ellis. She's got a beautiful sweater in here.
Yeah.
And then Lars Rains has a garment in here too.
Okay.
As well as 6 other people that I'm sure are
she's trying to read off the bottom.
Incredible designers. I see them there, yeah.
Yeah.
We just we love this book. It's really a great book.
So all the patterns in here are aimed at men. But we actually sell this magazine to a lot of women who want to knit something special for men.
Or for themselves.
Yeah.
I think these garments are really unisex when you think about them.
Well, there's not just garments either. There's scarves and hats and pillows and all kinds of different things you can do. Yeah. So that's great. This magazine sells out really fast. And in fact, edition 1 is not being printed anymore.
I think it's out of print.
Yeah. Yeah, so when they're gone, they're gone. If you want, we may have 1 or 2 copies of issue 1 still available. So if you want the whole collection, there's a 1, 2, and 3. But don't hesitate.
Yeah. And then we brought in a few for Christmas time. We have some local books. Let's talk about the other one first.
Okay.
So grab that one.
Duchess Bakery.
Yeah. This one is a local Edmonton bakery. The woman who wrote this book...
I'll pull my Tim Hortons mug behind the book.
Giselle Courteau, I think that's her name. She tells a story in here about how when she was teaching, I think in Japan, she loved macaroons and wanted to make them and researched all of these different recipes for them and perfected a macaroon recipe using a toaster oven in her kitchen. So it's a great story, and it's filled with beautiful French-inspired kind of pastry recipes, but also
a lot of patterns. A lot of recipes.
A lot of recipes. Also Canadiana ones like the Saskatoon pie.
Oh,
remember Mom
I love
used to make...
Saskatoon pie.
So it's a kind of a really nice book, and again, beautiful. We love to buy books for our own personal libraries, and
And support other local businesses too.
Yeah,
right?
absolutely.
Yeah.
So,
Because what's the best thing to do while you're knitting? It's to eat a macaroon. Right?
Or to read a book. Let's read a book.
And tell me about Red Path.
Red Path is kind of like another Canadian company. They've been making sugar, I think, since 1854 here in Canada. And this is their first cookbook. They have over 200 recipes in here.
Right, featuring recipes for cookies, bars and brownies, muffins and breakfast treats, cakes and shortcakes, cupcakes, frostings, icings, and decorating basics, pies, cheesecakes, breads, quick breads and donuts, puddings, custard sauces, candies, and a full chapter just for holiday baking and special occasions.
Yeah.
You know, when we moved out of the house, I don't know about you, but Mom gave me a cookbook.
Yeah, she gave me one too.
Yeah, and it was the cookbook by a flour company.
Oh, okay.
And I have it. It's tattered. I use it for banana bread and stuff like that. I'm thinking this would be a really nice gift for our daughters.
Yeah.
Although they've moved out already. But yeah, you know, everybody needs sort of like that essentials cookbook, the one that you go to all the time.
Yeah.
Yeah.
And this one has such nice photographs in it too. Look at that basic cream cheese frosting. I mean, who doesn't need that, right?
Right.
Anyways, we just thought this isn't really nice. There's a fine line between, you know, knitting and crochet and baking and, you know, scrapbooking. And we're all makers at heart, right? So this was kind of a nice thing. Okay, so the last book that we have to tell you about is Flapper Pie and Blue Prairie Sky. And this is by Carlin Johnston. And she's from Edmonton as well. She's a blogger.
Oh, no kidding.
Yeah.
Oh.
Yeah. And so she's been blogging about, you know, all sorts of things, but baking and things like that. And she came up with this book, and it's kind of all inspired by old-fashioned recipes. And I remember Mom making flapper pie.
Oh, really?
Yeah, because, you know, on the farm, like, we had lots of natural ingredients, but we didn't have a whole lot of variety. And so there's all these kind of really, in the cookbook that Mom gave you, you probably have some real kind of simple recipes.
Yes.
Basics. And me too. She gave me one called the Farm Wives Cookbook or something.
Right, yeah.
And so a lot of these patterns are based on really old traditional recipes like that, but twisted. So Carlin's given them a different twist.
I like that you said a lot of these patterns, because it's funny, right? Yeah. It's funny, people come into the store and they'll say, I have this recipe for a sweater. Yeah. So you're absolutely right, Barb. Cooking, baking, knitting, crocheting, weaving, I mean, they all go hand in hand. And it's not just women either, it's men too. It's putting our creativity into our hands.
Right.
And having a recipe or a pattern for doing that really helps. So this is great.
So we have a few copies of this too, and we just wanted to show you some nice local Edmonton makers.
Right. And then we've got a Noro magazine here too. So,
well, the reason we have this is because we're looking at several new Noro yarns for spring, and we're, you know, kind of busy knitting samples up behind the scenes. But you know, Noro has been around for many, many years, and they're coming out with some beautiful yarns for spring, summer.
I happen to be wearing Noro.
Right. Yeah. Tell us about what you're wearing.
Well, this is a gift from my sister, who made me an easy folded poncho out of, I think this was a Noro cotton wool blend. They like to do blends, don't they? And they're noted for their colors.
Yeah.
So we're going to come back to this because you have a work in progress that you're going to talk about. Yeah. Okay. But before we head to works in progress, there was another thing that we wanted to show you, because I think Janet did this project up, didn't she?
Well, let's talk about store samples.
Okay.
Right?
Okay.
We spend a lot of time knitting store samples. Janet knit this one for us.
So this is a wrap.
Right.
And this is a church mouse design?
This is based on the ribbed lace scarf. So we'll put a link up for this one too. But this scarf is a really simple stitch pattern. It's got a repeating yarn over and a lace to it.
So soft.
And it's beautiful. It's done out of chunky yarn. It's done out of Noro cocoon, which we love.
Rowan cocoon?
Oh, did I say?
You said Noro cocoon.
Oh, Noro. Got Noro on the brain.
It's okay. Rowan cocoon. Yes.
we love that yarn because it's got so much substance to it. It too is a blend, and it's got a real halo and a glow to it that we love.
And a gorgeous palette of colors. How many balls did this one take? Do you know?
Oh gosh, I forget.
Let's see. Let me look on the very handy tag that we've thoughtfully attached. 5 balls of cocoon, 6 millimeter needles. And it's the rib lace scarf.
And it's a really nice long length. So, you can wrap it around several times and get really cozy with it. Or you can wear it just hung down long over top of a coat or a vest in the wintertime. It looks really classic.
Around the fire in the summertime. Yeah.
I suppose.
Yeah, in the evening. Yeah. Oh, very nice.
And then we've got a few other store samples. You've done up a few, right?
Yeah. Well, we wanted to do some workshops in December and January and February in the new year that were nice for novice knitters. We're going to do a newbie knit night in January, and we've got a couple of workshops that were just for beginner knitters. So to help you follow a pattern and get used to just pattern instructions. So yeah, I've been doing lots of sample knitting
too, right? That wouldn't take as long because we do a more intensive knitting class that runs over 4 weeks.
Yes.
But this would just be one night?
Exactly. So newbie knit night, the idea is to come in and knit a scarf. And
that's cute.
So this is the tail end of the scarf. But I always imagine when people knit scarves that, like me, they may get tired of knitting and they just decide halfway through the scarf that they've had enough.
Can I put it on the mannequin?
Yeah, or I can put it on me.
No, you don't.
Okay. So I imagine that people would stop their scarf halfway and they could just sew it into a cowl. So on Newbie Knit Night, it's an opportunity to try out knitting. If you decide that you really like it and it sticks and you want to learn more, we do have another class called Knitting 101, which is 4 weeks long, and we teach you all the fundamentals.
That's so cute. I love what you've done with the fringing too.
Yeah.
Along the edge and then in here.
Yeah. I put fringe in a couple of places.
And so is this a brick bubble button?
It is. Oh. Yeah. And it's just sewn. I just put some yarn in and tied it in a knot or tied it in a bow on the back. So if you wanted to take that button off and put a different one on, you could do that really easily.
For washing.
Yep.
Nice.
So on Newbie Knit Night, we'll introduce you into how to knit a scarf, but the pattern also includes how to turn that scarf into a cowl if you decide that you're tired of knitting scarves.
So is that just the knit stitch? Or is it
it's a combination of garter stitch, which is just the knit stitch, and then this little panel here on the inside, this is inspired by Tin Can Knits. They have a scarf called Wheat, and that scarf has a rib stitch in the middle. And I decided that the rib stitch pulled the scarf in too much, so I went with mistake rib instead.
Oh, cool.
But if you'd like to do the rib stitch scarf, Tin Can Knits has a beautiful pattern on their website. And in our pattern, which is free, we've also credited Tin Can Knits for being the inspiration and put links into their videos as well.
Nice.
Yeah. So I just thought this made the scarf the same width all the way.
That's really nice.
And if you didn't want to do this, if you didn't want to do any pearls, you could just do the entire scarf in garter stitch, because the yarn that we've used here is self-striping. This is Marble Chunky. It's one of our top-selling yarns. And I only used about half a ball for this one, including the fringe. And with the other half of the ball, I made a cowl. And this is another pattern that we're coming out with for new knitters.
Cute.
This is done with the other bit of Marble Chunky. And this is knit in the round. And it uses a 3x3 rib, so knit 3, purl 3, but the number of stitches that you cast on is not a multiple of 6, and so it goes off at an angle, so it's a diagonal rib. Yeah, and then again, had a little bit of yarn left over, and can't waste anything, so why not add a bit of fringe to the cowl, right?
I have to tell you, all week long in the shop, customers have seen this and want the pattern.
All right. So it's I just have to add a few more things to it, like a photograph, and then I'll send it to the printer and we'll have some print copies available.
Lovely.
And then we'll talk to our webmaster about putting all these patterns on our patterns page as well, so you can download them if you're not coming into the store.
Nice.
Just use a chunky yarn, get something done, and practice your knitting skills. So this one's done on a circular needle rather than a straight needle. But we have a few more that are done on knit flat.
Okay.
So one of them is, I just got one here, was the other one. We did have a pair of slippers because, you know, everybody needs a pair of slippers. There we go. Here's the other one. Now these are a prototype pair. So they're knit a little bit looser than the final slippers will be. And that pattern is coming up too. Just looking for the little baby pair of slippers I have somewhere.
Tell us about the heel, because that looks really neat.
Yeah, so this again, these slippers are knit flat, and they've got a nice little wedge heel in here. So you start with a couple of stitches and you increase. And then you knit the bottom and the sides of the slipper.
At the same time?
And you knit the top. Yep.
Oh.
They're separated by a little row of knit stitches here. And then when you're done, you seam it up the back here, and there's a little seam that goes across the top.
Cute.
So so this is, there's 3 sizes in the pattern. There's ladies, men's, and child.
Oh.
And you can
Does
see.
Hayden have a pair of these yet?
Yeah, both Hayden and Rachel have them.
Yeah.
They're really quick to make up, and we're just adapting the pattern. The pattern called for a double strand of worsted weight yarn, and so we thought, why not do this in a chunky weight yarn? So you only have 1 strand, and so I've just been working a bit with the needle sizing to get the gauge right.
Still chunky?
Yes, Estelle Chunky, one of our favorites. This one is a cabled headband. So again, this is a novice knit project. You knit this as one long strip, and then there's one seam that goes in here, and it's really cute and functional.
Can you try that one on?
Yeah, absolutely. So this one,
these are great for our weather.
It goes like this.
That's cute.
Yeah,
that
so
looks really cute.
It's what I probably should leave my hair inside, but
no, it looks good.
It's wider, garter stitch. The garter stitch is wider here. The cable narrows up, and the rib stitch at the back narrows up, and you just make it as long as you need to cover your head, and then you sew it together, and Bob's your uncle. Yeah.
That looks really cute on you too.
It's soft and warm and machine washable.
Yeah.
And then there's the basic knit flat hat. So this is a hat that you knit flat, and there's one seam up the back. And we've just finished a couple of videos on how to seam up the hat and how to weave in your ends. So that's available on our YouTube channel as well. And this is the child size hat, so I won't put it on my head, but it's just a very basic hat. So if you haven't knit in the round before, but you want to do a hat or a head warmer or slippers, these are all projects and store samples that
and so these are targeted for the people that are taking our
Knitting 101. Yeah.
To knit.
Yeah. Or you're a self-taught knitter, but you've never really learned how to read a pattern. These are patterns that will not stress you too much, force you to look at the abbreviations and come back to the instructions again, but are a nice introduction to getting better at reading patterns. Yeah. So those are all my store samples.
Okay.
Yeah. How about you?
I have one, and it's based on, I have 2, I guess. Okay. This is the first one. This is a kit that we got from
Jana, Handmaiden. Yeah. Fleece Artist, yep. This wool is so
it's beautiful.
Squishy.
It's BFL. And I had a hard time putting this down. I was on holidays.
And this looks like one skein, but it's actually 2 twisted together.
Yeah. Okay. And so there's 2 different colors in your skein, and it makes this mitten.
Beautiful. It's got a beautiful pine detail on the front.
And then there's the palm.
Nice.
And so it was just so much fun to knit.
So you were knitting these in Mexico, and nobody looked at you and said, why are you knitting mittens in Mexico?
A few people did, but I just ignored them.
This feels really nice, Barb. You did a beautiful job.
Yeah.
Yeah.
So I got that done, and then I got this done.
Or
did I have this done before? This is the biscotti mittens. I might have had that done before.
Scott? Yeah, so this is using their sock yarn, but turning it into a mitten. Look at those stripes.
And this is our Lucky Mitten pattern from Fiona Ellis.
No kidding.
Without
the detail.
The hockey stick and the pocket.
And did you make it longer as well, or is it that long?
I forget.
Okay. So good to know if you want to make a mitten that's nice and long, because I like the length here. You're warming up your wrists.
Yeah.
This you could put on before you put your jacket on. You could still do up your zipper because it's thin, right?
Yeah. Very fine. Yeah.
I love the colors, Barb. They go with my hair, by the way. Don't know if you noticed.
They do. And then I have to show you one more. This is...
nice project bag.
Yeah, these are two... Are we into whips?
Yes.
Yeah.
Okay. Yes, we are. We're into whips.
All right, so I'm doing hack on Hohi's 3-color cashmere cowl.
Oh.
So check this out. This is 3 strands of shibui.
3 strands. So you're doing the 3-strand color
The
cashmere.
3-strand, 3-color cashmere cowl, but only with 1 color.
Okay, so you got 1 strand of silk cloud in here, 1 strand of staccato, and 1 strand of something else.
Pebble.
One of my favorites.
Yeah.
I'm so proud of myself that I could guess all those yarns.
Isn't that great? Yeah, you're really getting good at it.
So you started off with some ribbing here?
I just did some stockinette to start off with.
Okay.
And then I went into ribbing.
Okay.
And then I'm just doing more stockinette. But I'm going to do Hohi's little lace pattern
Yes.
in it. And just see, just in these colors, I think.
Right. So it'll be a 1 color.
Maybe. I have 3 more.
Oh, that would look really nice in here.
And I love these 2 color combos together.
Right.
So I might do, I was thinking about doing half of it in this color and then doing the other half in the other color.
Maybe striping it in the middle?
And then you could fold one end in on the other.
Oh, smart.
Because Shibui did that. They did that kind of folded
Right.
cowl.
That would make it really thick and squishy and gorgeous. Yes.
But I can't tell you how fun this yarn is.
How are you finding working with 3 strands, Barb? Because sometimes that gives people a little bit of anxiety.
No, there's no problem.
No?
I think the silk cloud helps to bind the strands together a bit, right?
And the yarns get kind of messed up when you do them, and that doesn't bother you?
That just tells me it's time to take a break and to stretch out and
Okay. Yeah.
straighten out my yarns.
Yeah. That's beautiful, and it feels really nice.
Yeah.
Yeah.
While I'm pulling out the next project, you should tell everybody about these bags.
These are really nice. So you got in a new order of the Atenti bags. Atenti is an American company, and they do everything out of upholstery fabrics. So the fabrics are really thick and durable, and the materials, the colors combinations that they get are gorgeous. Aha! So this one has 4 pockets on the outside, and there are 4 pockets on the inside. And the inside is lined with a faux leather, or faux suede. So it's soft and very suede, like it has that sort of nap on it.
They're all slightly different. This one has kind of like a leopard print.
Like a faux leopard print.
In it. We brought this style. They have other styles of bags too, but we love this style of bags because it's so great for notions or for projects.
They have this cool little loop on the side as well. So you can take your handle and pull it through the loop, and that closes off the bag and gives you a little strap on it.
I've had one of these for 5 years, and it is still as beautiful now as the day I got it. They're just so well made.
Yeah.
Mine didn't have this little thing. I think they've added this a couple of years ago, but it's just a great little detail.
It really is. And I have one of their big shoulder bags, and I carry my all my knitting projects, my books, my notebooks, and my laptop computer in it, and it hasn't given out on me at all.
Yeah.
It goes under the seat on the airplane. It goes into the overhead bin. It carries everything. And then these are a couple of accessory pouches. So this one, I believe, is for your interchangeable knitting needles. So you can put your tips in here and your cords in the center. There's more.
Now you can also use this one for double points too.
Right.
If you have some people have big double point collections.
Crochet hooks.
Crochet hooks.
Yeah. Yeah, and then your accessories in the middle. Yeah, it's really nice. And this one?
And this one is kind of for interchangeables.
So this one's a different company as well. This is Offhand Designs.
This is Offhand Designs.
Yeah. Another really nice American company. And they, again, do upholstery fabric. And I have one of these for my Addy interchangeable needles. I've had it for, I think, 10 years.
I know.
I love it. It just goes and goes.
I have 2 of these.
Do you? Of course you do.
And in my primary one, I have 2 sets of interchangeables. So this will hold one set in here, and then there's a zipper pocket with a nice gusset in it. So you can I put an entire set of Addy short lace tips in this side.
This is why this woman gets into trouble at airport security. The last time we went to, I think, Bainbridge Island together, Barb got her bags. We were going through security.
It just takes me a little longer to get through.
And they stopped her and pulled her out because she had, I'm sure you had 2 full interchangeable sets in 2 cases in your luggage.
I didn't tell you about my chia goo needles.
Yeah, you did. You confessed, you bad girl.
In Mexico.
Yeah. So travel safely everywhere except coming home from Mexico. Getting into Mexico is no problem, right? It's just coming home that you have to be careful about your needles. But, and maybe don't pack your entire needle collection in one suitcase because that may arouse
suspicions. You never know, though. You know, you're on the plane and you might need to start a new project on your DPN.
So this is a nice segue into extreme knitting, which we'll come back to.
Okay.
Whips. Oh, I just wanted to give everybody an update on my, because I had talked about doing a sweater using Susan B. Anderson's book.
Look at that.
I think this is really fun. So I couldn't decide.
Let me hold it up.
I want to do a sweater. Oh, there goes my basket. I wanted to do a sweater for Rachel and a sweater for Hayden. And I was having trouble picking colors. So I went with Hyacinth for Rachel and Galilea for Hayden. And then I thought, well, they're brother and sister, so maybe I should mix the colors. So I've started off the top of this sweater in Hyacinth, and then midway through, I started to stripe it. And I'm going to finish it off in Galilea, and then I'll do Hayden's sweater just the opposite way.
So it's sort of your own find your fade.
It is my own find your fade. Yeah. And I love the way the colors are pooling, especially here in the stripey section. It looks very deliberate, don't you think?
Yes. So
like there's a pattern in
this is the other, but yet you got this purple.
Right. So this is Hyacinth. This is striping Galilean Hyacinth, and the colors just kind of pooled the way they will pool. And now I'm into straight Galilea, and I'll finish it off that way.
You guys should feel this too. This is so soft.
This is the Merino Cashmere Nylon blend.
Adam and Eve, right?
Yep.
Yeah.
You hold the 2 skeins together, and I don't think you can imagine putting those 2 colors together.
Right.
But in my swatch, because I did a swatch, I just striped it to see what it would look like, and I thought it was kind of cool, so I decided to go for it.
See, we got to do some of those fades in Adam and Eve colors.
Yeah.
More of them.
Yeah.
That's beautiful.
So that's coming along. I have to get these done before Christmas because the kids keep asking me, where's my Christmas sweater? And you're working on Noro.
Right. So this is a new pattern testing out called the Cross Hatch Shawl.
Okay. And this is Noro Silk Garden.
Noro Silk Garden and Zooey.
Okay.
And I haven't blocked it yet, so
so
don't anybody comment on the shape. It looks wonky until you actually get it shaped. But this is kind of neat because it's got
little
stripes, and then it's got vertical, like these little ones that go running this way.
Right. Looks like a slip stitch kind of pattern in there.
Yeah, but it's not. No, you're carrying the strands along the back.
Wow.
Yeah.
That's really cool, Barb.
I think it's going to be really neat once it's blocked out.
So Zooey is the cotton linen blend, and it's a solid color. And then you're alternating it with Silk Garden.
Yeah.
And are you using one ball of Silk Garden at a time, or are you alternating these as well?
No, just one ball at a time.
Very
They're the same colorway.
I thought they were 2 different colorways.
No.
But this is just the inside and the outside kind of, like when they wind it up.
Yeah.
That's the thing about Silk Garden
and
Carry On Noro yarns. You really have to look at the color numbers on the side because, at first glance you wouldn't think these are the same colorway, but they are. And now that I look at the inside, I can see that.
Yeah.
That's gorgeous, Barb.
So just something really, really fun. This has been a nice TV knitting project where you don't have to think too much. You can just knit.
Yeah. I should say too, you remember this one? This is the Kauni, and it's the Pre Yarn packaging, so it's roving basically. I had to substitute teach a thrummed mitten class this week, so I was using it for thrums.
How did that work?
It's perfect. Look at this. Like you just rip it off and you knit it into your mitten, and it makes a great thrum. It's not as soft as the merino roving that we get with the Fleece Artist kits, and it's not as fluffy as the Corriedale.
But how much time are you saving?
So quick.
By using this.
Yeah.
It takes a long time to make thrums, right?
Yeah. Plus, who can not like rainbow colors?
Yeah.
Right? They're just gorgeous. So I wanted to let you know
that's a great idea.
That was happening.
Okay.
And then I did a little bit of test knitting. Do you want to talk about Flash Mob?
Yeah.
Okay. So Flash Mob this month is
Flash Mob this month is Pepino.
Our friend Richard DeVries.
Yes. Mm-hmm. And he's created a Christmas colorway for us. This is called Home for the Holidays. Here's a little swatch. And so it's just a really lovely little blend of a corally red and a green and a brown, and it reminds me of, gingerbread men.
Yes. And it's
Christmas trees.
It's not too bright. Sometimes you can get that Christmas red that is it's nice, but sometimes it can be a little hard on your eyes. So this is nice because it's not just for Christmas. You can wear this any time of the year.
Exactly.
And he'd sent us 3 little sample skeins, and so I took 2 of those little sample skeins and I started a hat for Rachel. So this one I've ended a little too soon. It's not finished yet.
I was putting pressure on it to get it done for the podcast.
But it's 2 skeins, and it might make a nice little mug cozy.
Yeah.
But
you've got a third one here. You can.
Yes, I can finish it off. Mm-hmm. Yeah, but it just and the 3 skeins were slightly different dye lots, right? Mm-hmm. And so I wanted to show too that if you have 2 different dye lots in a hat like this. All I did was just change the stitch pattern. So I put in a bit of garter stitch when I was switching yarns, and then carried on with the next skein. And I think that really hides any difference in the dye lot itself. Mm-hmm. Makes it look more purposeful. That's what I think anyway. Yeah.
This is a beautiful color too. We kind of put it up against some of our other Richard DeVries colorways, and they go so pretty.
Yes.
So if you are thinking about doing a fade or something like that where you want to blend, this would be a lovely choice.
Yeah, and that sort of taupey brown that's in there is really spectacular. We have a hard time keeping that color in stock. It's like a mousy brown. It's almost a gray in its
tone. The one
that
you did your skirt in?
Yeah, the one that's in here.
Oh, okay.
Yes, but it would go really nicely with Cake, which is the name of the colorway. That it's more of a dark chocolate brown. Mm-hmm. But finding this taupey brown that's in this particular color scheme is difficult. Mm-hmm. But it blends in and matches up with everything as well.
So nicely.
Yeah. Would look lovely in a fade shawl for sure. So these skeins they're 60 grams. Do you want to pull out a full skein to show everybody? And that'll be our Flash Mob for this month. So coming up on the 20th of December. And Home for the Holidays, you could have that in your hands for a stocking stuffer. And we'll find it. Oh, I think it's just down here, Barb.
Oh, thanks.
There. Perfect. Richard DeVries Pepino. It's a tightly spun, almost an overspun merino. Yeah, and the colors are gorgeous.
We love
just
this
that
yarn.
Minty green.
And I like the fact that it's got 206 meters. This is a 65 gram skein as opposed to a 50 gram.
Yeah.
And so you're just getting a few extra meters, which is really, really nice.
Yeah.
I think you could maybe even do a pair of short socks with one.
I think you could, but I think you should put it. I would think you should put it somewhere visible, around your neck, on your head. Yeah.
You'd rather use it for.
I would.
Yeah.
I would. I mean, certainly you can put it on your feet, but why not put it around your face? Yeah.
Or shoulders.
Or shoulders, for sure.
Yeah.
Okay.
Okay, so we have kind of like a challenge, right?
Right. So we were thinking about challenging ourselves to do some extreme knitting this year. And we started it off with having Sara come in and doing some extreme hand knitting. Right. But
define extreme, right? Because that's, that can mean a lot of different things. With Sara, it was extremely big yarn, like that.
Right, or big needles. Right. Yeah.
But it doesn't have to be that.
No, we want to challenge ourselves and you to telling us about some extreme knitting that you've done. Maybe you've gone to an extreme location. Maybe
top of a mountain somewhere.
Yeah. Maybe you've knit during a time of extreme duress. I was thinking about knitting my skirt while I was in the dentist's office because I tried to take my mind off.
Did that work?
Yeah. If you're just doing stockinette in the round, you don't really have to look at it. So
you knit in the dentist's chair?
Yeah.
Wow.
Yeah. Yeah, my dentist is very understanding.
You win the first prize.
But tell us about some extreme knitting that you've done. Maybe you've just gone to some extreme lengths to accomplish something, and we want to hear the story about that.
Yeah.
And Barb has suggested that once a month, we'll pick a story that we feel really
that we resonate with.
Yeah,
and we'll give a prize.
Okay, something an undisclosed prize.
Yeah, something really nice.
But Barb is our prize master, so you know it's going to be good.
Yeah.
So in order to qualify for the challenge, you need to leave a comment in our YouTube channel.
Right.
So underneath here, leave a comment.
Just and put something brief, about what you've done or where you've been
or wax eloquent if you want to. We want to know the details.
Yeah, and we'll either get a hold of you or if we need more information, or we'll just pick you and start talking about you on our next podcast.
Yeah. So subscribe, tune in, leave a comment, tell us a story, and then check in on our next podcast and see who we picked. It'd be nice. It'd be a nice record too of a nice little series of stories to look at. Once the podcast is over.
Yeah.
Okay. Thank you everybody for taking time out to spend some time with us today. We know this episode's probably run a bit longer than normal, but that's because we had that fabulous interview with Sara in there, right?
Yeah.
So yeah.
And a thank you to everybody who's shopped with us over the last year. We so appreciate, you shopping with us both in our shop and in our store. It's that kind of support that keeps us going and we really want to say thank you to you.
Yeah, absolutely. And happy holidays. Yeah. We'll see you in the new year.